Have you ever felt like the magic of Christmas just isn't what it used to be? It seems like every year the excitement fades a little more, and many of us are left wondering if we'll ever see that holiday spirit again. It seems to have been a common newsline header for many years, and I get it. Deaths in the family makes holidays in general kinda suck, I should know, and obviously mortality has been around since forever. Also, Christmas has always had an issue with consumerism. People spend way too much money on Christmas decorations and Christmas presents every year, and forget that, Christmas is really all about coming together as a family, enjoying others' company, and if it applies to you, celebrating your religion or spiritual beliefs, whatever it may be. And well, us kids kind of grew up into adults. But from what I've personally seen, Christmas hasn't been the same since 2019. And I know I'm not alone in that. Ever since the pandemic in 2020, or since it's hit America, I feel like that took a real toll on everyone's sense of routine when it comes to holidays. Every year, I see less and less decorations on neighbors' houses, there are less family get-togethers, and honestly, it just feels so lonely seeing Christmas as well as other holidays fade away. The main reason for this recent downfall of holiday celebration is the pandemic. At least I'm pretty darn certain based off my own experiences as well as friends. I reacted to the pandemic pretty calmly considering. I respected the mask mandates, rarely went out of the house, ordered Walmart pickup instead of going to the store, you name it. It honestly wasn't much different than my normal introverted lifestyle. It started to really dawn on me when I became pregnant with little guys shortly after the pandemic started. I mean, being stuck with your fiance for months on end will do that. I realized pretty quickly that this baby's life would be a lot different than mine. I was hoping it would be different for the first 2 years as the crusty coughing spree died down, but now that it's 2024, I feel like this lack of celebration is much more permanent. Like, I get it, the whole world shut down for quite a long time. Kids aren't reading as well because of it. Lots more people work from home, and honestly, I think it alienated all of us from in-person socialization, which trickles down to the holidays. I used to love driving through rich neighborhoods as a kid and see all the decorations. I felt like a magical wonderland of lights, blow-up snowman, and even the little setups people have of baby Jesus and Mother Mary with all the wise men. I can't remember for the life of me what that's called. I continued the tradition in high school and college, but this time by myself or with friends. Then the pandemic hit. I didn't really try to look for Christmas events or drive through neighborhoods because I was 1, pregnant and grumpy, and 2, COVID literally just started, so of course things would be a little less Christmas magic-y. But after my son was born, I wanted to drive through some neighborhoods. Newborns love pretty lights, you know. But when I drove through the usual rich neighborhood, there were maybe 1 or 2 houses lit up. It was kind of depressing. On top of the pandemic blues, we've all seen that huge price increase from 2020 to 2024. Everything seems to be way more expensive. And with how difficult the job market has been since 2020 as well, let's just say it's hard to buy new decorations. I get it, I've been struggling with Christmas decorations myself. We don't decorate really much at all anymore, and for me it's not just because of the pandemic. But I'll get into that later. Have you noticed the lack of snow lately? I remember when I grew up there was at least a little bit of snow every year, but now it seems like snow never falls. It's been at least 3 years in my state since snow fell, and at the time it was less than an inch. Global warming really is a but I'm starting to think snow is normally decreasing and increasing over the years. I wanted to double check my thoughts, and I was actually surprised that the average snowfall each year stayed relatively the same. Of course, I didn't look at long-term predictions just in the last few decades. So maybe that's just a me embracing the Delulu moment. All I know is my 3.5-year-old has only seen snow once, and it was only half an inch tall, and I'm angry for him for not ever really seeing snow. Whether religious or not, Christmas is meant to be enjoyed with families, close friends, and loved ones. It's meant to be a day where you appreciate everything you have while looking forward to the new year to come. We share thoughtful gifts, thinking about your family's likes and dislikes throughout the process of finding that perfect present to show how much you care about them. Kids can't wait to fall asleep, ready to wake up the next morning to Christmas presents under the tree. I personally remembered staying awake all night to see if Santa was real or not myself. We used to get excited and groan when Christmas music started to play within stores. On Christmas Eve, you might have watched those classic Christmas films while decorating the house in green and red. It was an exciting, exhausting, and hopeful time of year. It was embraced by everyone else doing it as well. Christmas decorations would be everywhere outside. The neighbors' houses, main streets, storefronts, you name it. No matter where you went, there were sparkling lights, stuffed Santas, snowflakes, and Christmas trees all over the place. I remember when my mom was around. She was a single mom. She was on food stamps and disability. Like, we were poor. But my sister and I always had a big Christmas. With the help of mom saving up her disabilities, skipping meals, and not taking her meds, don't do that, she still made it work. It also helped that there were a lot of charity events for kids who couldn't afford Christmas that we were able to take part in. Instead of sending letters to Santa, we'd send letters to amazing people willing to, in kid terms, give us whatever we wanted. It was really nice, actually. One year we did Shop with a Cop, and I had so much fun. I still remember it to this day fondly. They were so sweet to us. A sweetness and patience we didn't see much of at home. Even as a poor, I still had an awesome Christmas every year, and I see every Christmas fondly until I was 19. But Christmas doesn't feel like this anymore. There's not as much magic. I remember last year not even bothering to get a Christmas tree or decorations. I didn't wrap any presents or get any presents for anyone other than my little guy, because what kind of monster would I be to not get my own son Christmas presents every year? He got a cooking set, a mini jungle gym for our tiny little backyard, a whole organization station, a tool set, and a ton of books, blocks, and cars. But yeah, he got presents, we just didn't wrap them because we couldn't care less. I'm happy to say my son isn't in the same situation as I was when I was a kid. My husband and I have worked hard, really hard, to get to where we are today so that he can have a comfy childhood. He saw it as another birthday instead of Christmas, however, because we didn't really decorate for Christmas anymore. Like a lot of other people, Christmas decorations are expensive and kind of luxurious at this point. But with my lack of decorating for Christmas, I kept that Christmas magic away from my son. I'll have to do better this year. I touched on this a little bit earlier in the video, but death is one of the main reasons holidays, at least for me, isn't the same anymore. In 2019, my mom hosted the biggest Christmas we've ever had. Decorations everywhere, countless presents under the tree, that fireplace ambience video was on the big screen, and holiday music was playing from our Alexa. This was a time when we weren't really poor anymore, but middle class. But even with middle class money, it wasn't enough to afford everything that was purchased. I didn't ask any questions because it was an amazing experience. Who knows, maybe my stepdad took out a loan or tapped his savings because mom seemed so excited this year about Christmas. I was amazed at all the home-cooked food on the kitchen table too. It was like Thanksgiving on steroids. A lot of my mom's signature dishes were laid out on the table, as well as snacks and sweets. It felt like a buffet. That was another little detail that was unusual. See, my mom had depression and anxiety, so severe that she had to be put on disability for it, and no medication seemed to help. So this amount of work had to be extremely difficult for her. She had to have done it for a reason. Maybe she was celebrating something big like, ooh, maybe a baby brother or sister would have been sweet. But again, I was completely oblivious at the time. It was quiet, comfy, and everyone had a ton of fun. Even our extended family came over to open presents. It was the best Christmas I ever had. I remember it extremely fondly to this day, other than one major point. This is where I want to put up a major trigger warning. If you get triggered easily or have a lot of past traumas relating to death, please take care of yourself and skip this part. This is hard enough for me to reiterate, but I think it's important to talk about for me and anyone else experiencing this level of loss. I want to apologize in advance if my voice breaks in this part of the video. Even though it's been 8 years, it still hits hard as if it happened yesterday. Remember how I mentioned that my mom had depression? That depression caused this amazing party. See, what I believe happened is she spent all this money on presents, decorations, and everything else to make this the most magical Christmas ever because she knew this would be the last Christmas we would ever have with her. She was planning to take her own life. I mean, it makes sense. She suffered her entire 51 years on this earth. She had every negative experience in the book. I never blamed her for taking her own life. I would say more, but I don't want to expose all of her pain and trauma on the internet because that isn't my place to say. It was hers. She waited until my sister and I were of legal age or close to it. I was 19, in college, I had my own apartment and job already. I was self-sufficient. It would have been the perfect time to leave this earth, but it wasn't. I was a lost young adult, learning how everything worked for the first time, and I needed her advice. I needed her to be my safety net. My sister needed her even more because she wasn't fully 18 yet. But my mom gave up. Found by my sister on February 28, 2016 in the backyard, just a few months after that Christmas. The morning we found her was the same day the blossoms bloomed on the trees. I took it as a sign that she was somewhere better. This, and with my bio dad passing just a year before, it hit even harder. My sister was whisked away to live with a family since she was only a few months away from legal age, and I was left alone. No matter how much we struggled, how much pain and instability we went through, my mom, sister, and I were together. The three of us, fighting against the world, and supporting each other so we could survive. I have never felt this alone in my life. And ever since then, it hasn't been the same. Since then, I haven't been able to decorate. Sometimes I'd blame it on the pandemic or the increasing prices of everything or even global warming. Although these were valid reasons Christmas feels different, the biggest change for me was the loss of, technically, my entire family. I learned very quickly that I had to be independent. I refused to follow the same path as my mother, and I refused to give up. I ended up graduating without mom, getting married without mom, having a baby without mom, and excelling at my career in social media without mom. Now I have to start making holidays magical without mom. Although things have changed a lot in the past 5 years, we can still get that Christmas magic back. It's up to us, grown-ups, to make it happen. Us older Gen Z and millennials teaming up to make our Christmases amazing again. And really, it's not about the decorations. It's the joy of having those close to you together again, joining Christmas events and celebrating the hope that is to come. Because even though it seems like we have no hope right now, there is. There is always hope. We just have to find it. Although things have changed a lot in the past 5 years or so, we can still get that Christmas magic back. I'm going to make sure my son has an awesome Christmas this year, with all the decorations and presents galore. I think it would be amazing if you did the same. Dress up your fur babies, put up a Christmas tree, thrift decorations or make your own, sing songs, be with family or friends, and remember, there is always something to be grateful for. But that's all the ranting I have for today. I hope I reach some of you who feel the same way about Christmas. If you're grieving lost loved ones like I am, I wish you my sincerest condolences. I know how it feels, but I don't know how it feels for you. But one thing I can say is it gets easier over time, I promise. Keep loving, keep caring, and keep that hope in your heart. I love each and every one of you. Bye-bye.